Ladies and gentlemen, football fans, and Dallas Cowboys Nation, welcome back to the channel where we break down everything you need to know about America's team. Today we've got some major news that is going to shake up the NFL landscape. Could the Dallas Cowboys be making a huge move for a new quarterback? You heard that right. The Cowboys are reportedly in trade talks with the Las Vegas Raiders for none other than the star quarterback Gardner Minshew. Yes, you heard it right, folks. Breaking news is coming straight from the NFL grapevine, and it looks like Dallas might be on the verge of making a blockbuster trade for a quarterback who's become a fan favorite across the league. Stay tuned, because today we're diving deep into everything you need to know about this potential trade, why it makes sense for both sides, what it could mean for the future of the Cowboys, and what you can expect from Gardner Minshew in a Dallas uniform. But first, make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another update on your Dallas Cowboys. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Gardner Minshew for a moment. If you've been following the NFL closely over the last few years, you already know who he is. The swaggering, mustached QB who became a fan favorite for his gritty performances and confidence. He burst onto the scene as a rookie for the Jacksonville Jaguars, filling in for an injured Nick Foles. And he quickly showed that he could be more than just a temporary solution. Minshew's style of play is something that resonates with fans. He's a gunslinger, confident in the pocket and able to make all the throws while also being mobile enough to extend plays when necessary. He's not the prototypical safe quarterback, he's a playmaker. 9. But here's the thing. Minshew has never been able to secure a long-term starting job in the NFL. He played for a couple of seasons with the Jaguars, where he showed flashes of brilliance but never had a real shot at becoming the franchise quarterback. His time in Jacksonville was marked by a lack of consistent talent around him, a rebuilding team, and a coach that eventually decided to move in a different direction. That's when he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, where he spent some time as a backup to Jalen Hurts. Despite being a backup, Minshew made some notable starts and even played well in key moments, showing once again that he could be an NFL-caliber starter. But now, after some time with the Eagles and with the Raiders acquiring Jimmy Garoppolo, Minshew's future in Vegas seems uncertain. Now let's get into why the Dallas Cowboys would even consider making this move. On the surface, it might seem a bit odd. After all, the Cowboys already have their franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott, and he's shown that when healthy, he's one of the best in the league. But here's where it gets interesting. The Cowboys have had a number of issues in terms of quarterback depth. While Cooper Rush did an admirable job filling in for Dak last season, there's no guarantee he could continue to carry the team if needed, especially in a postseason scenario. Having a proven, experienced backup is vital in a league where injuries are a constant concern. And Dak Prescott has had his fair share of them, including the serious ankle injury that sidelined him for much of the 2020 season. Adding a quarterback like Minshew makes a lot of sense for Dallas in terms of security. Minshew, while not necessarily a top-tier starter, brings valuable experience. He's someone who could step in for a short period if Dak were to get injured again, and he has the talent to keep the offense competitive. The Cowboys' offense has been built around Dak's ability to make plays, both through the air and on the ground, and Minshew has shown that he can thrive in similar offensive schemes. So, having a quarterback who can operate in a similar system and has a history of stepping in and keeping the team afloat would be a huge asset. Moreover, there's something to be said about competition. Dak Prescott is a solid leader and a proven starter, but every player benefits from a little push every now and then. If Minshew were to join the Cowboys, he wouldn't necessarily challenge Dak for the starting job, but he could certainly keep Dak on his toes. It would create a sense of urgency and a healthy competition that can only make a player better. In fact, Dak has been known to elevate his game when there's competition around him. Whether Minshew would be starting or just providing depth, having him in the locker room could lead to better performance across the board. Let's also not forget that adding Minshew could potentially set up the Cowboys for the future. While Dak is still young and has many years ahead of him, the NFL is a constantly evolving league. Having a backup plan, even one as skilled as Minshew, gives the Cowboys a bit of flexibility down the line. If Dak were to suffer a major injury, or if the Cowboys eventually decide to move on from him, Minshew could serve as a reliable bridge quarterback, allowing the team to transition without skipping a beat. This would give the Cowboys time to find their next franchise QB while still being competitive in the short term. On the flip side, the Raiders stand to benefit from this trade as well. Las Vegas has been in the midst of a roster overhaul, and while Jimmy Garoppolo is now their starter, they have little use for Minshew as a backup. Garoppolo is a veteran who is more than capable of holding down the starting role for the foreseeable future, so Minshew is essentially the odd man out. With the Raiders focusing on rebuilding and securing assets for the future, trading Minshew could help them gain draft picks or other valuable players who better fit their long-term vision. It's a move that makes sense for both sides, as Minshew is a valuable asset to the Cowboys, while the Raiders can use the trade to continue shaping their future. Now, when it comes to the actual trade itself, there are a few different possibilities. The Raiders aren't likely to demand a king's ransom for Minshew, as he's not a starting quarterback on their roster. But they could certainly look for a solid return. A third-round pick in the upcoming draft seems like a fair starting point. But there's a chance the Cowboys might have to throw in a player or two as well to get the deal done. Perhaps someone like a backup offensive lineman or a young player who hasn't yet reached his full potential could be included in the deal to make it more enticing for the Raiders. While the Cowboys wouldn't necessarily want to part with any of their top assets, a relatively low-risk trade for a quarterback with Minshew's skill set could end up paying dividends in the long run. In terms of the immediate impact on the Cowboys, this trade would solidify their QB room. It would provide them with a dependable backup who can step in and deliver if Dak Prescott misses time. The Cowboys have been contenders in the NFC over the past few seasons, but they've always been one injury away from a potential collapse. Minshew could change that narrative by offering an extra layer of stability and experience behind Prescott. Furthermore, the Cowboys' offense is one of the most potent in the league, and adding a quarterback with Minshew's ability would only increase their chances of making a deep postseason run, even if it's just in a backup capacity. As for the Raiders, trading Minshew could help them focus on their future. With Garoppolo now entrenched as their starter, it's a smart move to find a team that might value Minshew more. A deal with the Cowboys would be a win-win for both teams, allowing Dallas to address a potential weakness, while giving Las Vegas additional resources to continue their rebuild. In the end, this potential trade represents the kind of strategic, low-risk move that can pay off significantly for both teams. For the Cowboys, it would strengthen their quarterback depth, provide insurance for Dak Prescott, and add a high-parity player to their locker room. For Minshew, it would offer him a new opportunity to prove himself in a team that's looking to make a Super Bowl run. This is a trade that could be just the boost the Cowboys need to push them over the top, and if it goes through, it will have a major impact on how the team approaches the 2025 season. So Cowboys fans, are you excited about the possibility of Gardner Minshew joining the team? What do you think this move would mean for Dak Prescott's future in Dallas? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And as always, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more Cowboys news and analysis, and click the bell so you don't miss any updates. We'll be keeping an eye on this trade situation and bringing you all the latest details as they come in. Until next time, Cowboys Nation, stay tuned, and as always, go Cowboys!